What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some news concerning Deontay Wilder. He has turned down the $20 million two-fight deal with Eddie Hearn. He stated it was charity, give it to someone else. He said we're good. He doesn't want the charity. He said no American fighter will sign with you. And you're a disease. So, me looking at the comments of Deontay Wilder, there is one thing evident. This isn't business anymore. You have personal and you have business. I think this is solely personal. I think Deontay Wilder personally does not like Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? The writing's on the wall. The things he says, it's like some animosity. Like, whatever he did to Deontay Wilder in another life or whatever. I don't know what it was, but he does not like him. And I don't think if it was 30 million, I don't think if it was 15 to fight Whyte or 15 and another 15 to fight Joshua, I don't even think that he would take that. I think money is not even an issue with Deontay Wilder anymore. I think it's more of a pride thing or, just a matter of principle because he just does not like Eddie Hearn. And it's a trip because $20 million is roughly, matter of fact, $20 million in those two fights, if he took that fight, that would have been more than he made his whole career. I think his whole career has been like 16 million, 17 million maybe. His whole career in 40 fights, bro, he hasn't made $20 million. Okay, so he would have topped that by fighting two guys, win or lose. So that tells you, business-wise, that makes no sense. So it has to be another reason this is fueled his decision, to not fight these two guys. I know he already stated that he wouldn't fight Dillian Whyte anyway because he stated his Dillian Whyte as a peasant. And remember, Dillian Whyte only has one loss. You know what I mean? The guy that he defeated now only has one loss, which is Luis Ortiz. So I would look at it, me personally, if I'm Deontay Wilder, I would look at it as a way to lash back at Anthony Joshua. If Deontay Wilder goes over there and knocks out Dillian Whyte in 2 rounds, okay, he could then compare that to how Anthony Joshua took, I think, 10 rounds or 9 rounds to put Dillian Whyte away. You know what I mean? And if he goes out there and just knocks out Dillian Whyte, that would be a statement. You know what I mean? That would send a message if I was Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. You know what I mean? Because if the negotiations is unfair and he feels in his side and his businessmen think that it's unfair, that would be a message to Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? Like, look, I knocked out your fighter in 2 rounds or whatever rounds, as long as it didn't go the distance and he got the knockout. He could always argue that his knockout was a lot better than Anthony Joshua's in their fight. You know what I mean? Because now they have more common opponents. Okay, so you're looking at that in hindsight, man. I really think that Deontay Wilder does not like Eddie Hearns. And another thing, it could be a comparison like Maypac. You remember Pacquiao knocked out Haddon 2 rounds. Pacquiao knocked out, stopped or made De La Hoya quit in 8. So, whereas it took Floyd longer. You know what I mean? So there was the argument of the best pound for pound or who the best fighter was without actually fighting each other. So this tells you one thing, guys. This tells you one thing that's apparent, that these guys are official rivals. The back talk. Joshua, I'll slap you around the ring. Deontay Wilder, you're a pussy and a coward. These type things are said by both guys across the pond. So these guys are officially rivals. This is what this segment is called because this is what it is. And I didn't want to compare this to Maypac because, those guys had done a lot more than these two guys have. Honestly, I know AJ has done his string of successful wins, and Deontay Wilder is kind of slim to none. The Luis Ortiz fight Stavern, if you want to count him, but that's really, Stavern wasn't really tested, right? And he was older. So was Ortiz, right? We could argue about that. But anyway, Maypac, these guys have already done a career list of things before even fighting each other. They were legends before they even fought each other. You know what I'm saying? They had the fan base. They had the money. They had the fame. They had the popularity. They had a lot going for both of them. These two guys are just undefeated guys in their primes right now. So that the comparison is there because the animosity is rising. You know what I mean? And I just see a rivalry, and this is what it is, man. The only legitimate reason I can come up with why Deontay Wilder would not take the fight with that 2-fight deal would be, okay, he knocks out Dillian Whyte, which is pretty much, I think, would happen if he fought Dillian Whyte. I don't think it would be quick unless Deontay just unloaded on him, you know what I mean, with his speed and his power. But, who's to say he would do that if Dillian Whyte establishes his jab, and that's a really good way to keep Deontay Wilder at bay, is a jab. We've seen that in many fights. But he knocks him out eventually. Then he goes in there and fights Anthony Joshua for the 15 mil. Okay, there's no rematch clause, right? So I think that bothered him since it is no rematch clause. If he fights in the UK and it doesn't go it's not a work and it is not a knockout and it goes the distance, if it's a half decent fight, AJ might get the nod. So for that reason, I can understand him saying it. But the problem with Deontay Wilder to me is that what he's saying about like Eddie Hearn, it's nothing legitimate, nothing really concrete. It's a lash out, he's blasting Eddie Hearn, but he doesn't really show a reason why. You know what I mean? Like Don King, people say Don King is shit. The reason they say Don King is that way is because Don King gave people legitimate reasons, the things that he done, the underhanded stuff. You know what I mean? The money that he swindled from fighters. Those are legitimate reasons. This guy was, he did a lot of shady stuff being a promoter. So then those are legitimate reasons, A, B, C, D, and on forth, right? But he has no legitimate reason why Eddie Hearn is not, okay? So I don't get that. That really just behooves me on, like, just tell me, like, legitimate reasons, you know what I mean? Because I will listen to anybody with reason, and I'm not here for any of these fighters. I just want the fight to happen like all of us do. But, this is everything that's leading up to the fight. Because at this point, it's like, okay, Deontay Wilder, he does not like Eddie Hearn. So the question is, how would this fight be made without the promoters? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Maypac, same comparison. Mayweather didn't like Bob Arum. But again, Mayweather had a reason not to like Bob Arum. Because the reasons he didn't like Bob Arum is because he paid Bob Arum out of his contract to get away from Bob Arum because he wanted to be a free agent. And Bob Arum supposedly is supposed to owe him money for the Arturo Gatti fight, which Floyd and Mayweather never received. Those are legitimate reasons why Floyd does not like Arum, because he was once with Arum. He dealt with Aaron. So Deontay Wilder has never done that. He's never dealt with Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? On a professional level. So it's just hearsay of things that you've heard about him if you heard certain things about him. Let the public know. That's what I would say. Let the public know on why you don't like this particular person. Because the less he likes Eddie Hearn, the less likely this fight is going to happen, as longer it's going to drag on. You know what I mean? And then look what happened with the Maypac fight. Pacquiao gets knocked out in 2012 by Marquez, his other rival, right? Pacquiao had many rivals, that he actually fought. You know what I mean? But before then, his rival that he didn't get in the ring with which was Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. had a ball. He had a field day with that, with his memes and his taunts after Pacquiao got knocked out. And that could happen with these two guys. If these guys don't get it together, somebody will eventually find them out, figure either one of them, and knock them out. You know, so let's just hope that doesn't come to this case. But my only question is, man, because you guys tell me, because I don't know. My only question is, how will this fight get made if the animosity keeps building on the Deontay Wilder side towards Eddie Hearn? Because Joshua's not going anywhere. He's not leaving Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? He's getting too much money, you know? So, but anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this. These ongoing, really, it's not even negotiations at this spot. I mean, there was a contract, and the contract was denied. So you guys tell me about this whole debacle. And, of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.